It was so quiet during the holidays. Not a single person attacked, named, or vanished.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix with your host Ballad.
Lady I may be, but he is no gentleman.
Jumping into some post-commentary for this episode, because we got a lot to go through in this one. We're going to be covering the rest of the minigames. We're going to be doing some other things to get that 100% completion rating, minus all of the extra cleanup tasks throughout the Hogwarts school. First on our list, of course, is going to be covering the last portrait that we haven't opened yet, or unlocked yet, rather. And that is the portrait in pink. And this guy is fun.
In a world that sets out to baffle and confuse, please can you tell me the password? Find 3 faces, as I've said, or simply stand around instead.
So every portrait has its little gimmick to unlock it, but usually it's something a little more simple, right?
Well, really.
Not this guy. This portrait wants you to talk to not 1, not 2, but 5 different portraits to unlock his password. It becomes a wild goose chase pretty quick. So to start off this wild goose chase, we have to find the man with 3 faces. This portrait can be found on the 7th floor or on the 4th floor, but if you haven't unlocked him yet, you need to go to the 7th floor, where you can unlock his portrait west.
Do you know Percival Pratt's password?
Spouting riddles again, is he? I'm afraid I don't know. Try asking Professor Basil Fronsack.
The man with 3 faces sends us to Basil Fronsack, who, if you remember, is the same portrait on the 2nd floor of the Grand Staircase, who asked us to find a first-year Ravenclaw, and asked them about the founder of the house, Rowena Ravenclaw. Quite frankly, I think Basil Fronsack is one of my favorite, if not my favorite portrait in the entire game.
Do you know the password for Percival Pratt's portrait?
Ever inquiring, Mr. Potter. That's good to see. Well, your voyage of discovery will need to take you to the Shepherdess on the 2nd floor landing.
The Shepherdess, right. So you remember that portrait that we've passed a few times, where we could talk to it, but she just said hi back to us? On the 2nd floor? That's the one we're going to.
Hi, Harry.
The only problem, however, is that when you're doing this portrait quest, you can't actually use certain shortcuts from different portraits. Like Basil Fronsack. We can't use his portrait shortcut even if we've unlocked it. Any of the portraits that we need to talk to, we basically can't use them. So we have to take the long way around to get to the Shepherdess. It doesn't take forever to get there, but it's still far enough out of the way that it's still a bit of a hike to get to the Shepherdess.
Do you know Percival Pratt's password?
Me? No, that Google Stump fellow, you know, in that hall near the viaduct, he's a portrait with answers. Keep smiling.
Now I should clarify here, going back to Google Stump, that the only portraits that are actually locked are the ones that you need to talk to in that moment. So to get to the Shepherdess, I actually went through Google Stump's portrait in order to get to the Shepherdess. But because now I talk to the Shepherdess and I have to talk to Google Stump, I can no longer use his shortcut. Thankfully, however, he's right nearby, so it doesn't take nearly as long to get to Google Stump as it did to get to the Shepherdess.
Do you know the password for Percival Pratt's portrait?
Well, I did. Which is to say, I have known the answer to that, but I don't know it now. Aha! You could try talking to the portrait of Gifford Abbott at the bottom of the staircase. He's an excellent chap.
Once you talk to Google Stump, this is where it really helps to have unlocked every other portrait already in the game. Because if you haven't unlocked Gifford Abbott yet, you have to go all the way back to the Grand Staircase, which is a pain in the ass to do from here. But thankfully, since we've already unlocked his portrait shortcut, we can talk to him right there in the Transfiguration Courtyard, where we finally learn the password to the pink portrait.
Oh, to be young again.
Do you know Percival Pratt's password? Does that mean yes or no?
You're on a quest, are you not? Well, I shall not fail you. This password is absurd. That's the password, not a description of it. Well, both, actually. How absurd.
Yeah, thanks.
That has some incredibly glitchy camera angles, huh? And that is a repeatable thing that I ran into.
Why are they so mean?
But anyway, now that we've finally finished talking to all of the different portraits and gathered what Percival Pratt's portrait password is, bleh, there's a mouthful of alliterations for you, we can finally access his shortcut.
I'm a man.
This password is absurd.
Solved the riddle. Well done, you. It seems that now a reward is due. Pass, my friend, and enter through. I open now this way to you.
And there is one more challenge cup unlocked. But we still don't know where this goes, so let's access it again.
This password is absurd.
Yet now it has occurred, and so I must be stirred.
And that is going to take us to the boathouse. Yeah, probably the least important shortcut in the entire game. But hey, shortcut's a shortcut, right?
That Filch would tie us up in those and feed us to the merman if he could.
And I did talk about wanting to check out divinations in the last video, so doing that here. Unfortunately, by the time we got to the top, there was nothing left to be seen. Now, before we get into the rest of the minigames, there are a couple more things for us to do, starting with the quest that Luna Lovegood gave to us in the last episode. As a quick reminder, people are apparently taking her things and strewing them around the school in random places. So, nice person that we are, we offer to find her things for her. And they can be found by Google Stump, one of the portraits that we talked to earlier when we were trying to find out the Pink Portraits quest. We can find one in the Grand Hall.
I think this is Luna's.
In the library.
This must be Luna's.
And in two of the courtyards, the Clock Tower courtyard and I believe the entrance courtyard. I could be wrong on that.
This is Luna's. This is Luna's.
There are lots of...
But after all that said and done, we can finally return them to Luna and receive some good guy points.
Slytherins are so immature.
I've got everything back now. Have a nice holiday, Harry.
Yeah. You too.
Now there's one more thing to talk about that I discovered while I was wandering around Hogwarts proper. There is actually something that you can find out beyond the regular boundaries of the school by Hagrid's hut. And this has to do specifically with something that we discovered earlier on during the Let's Play that I just completely passed over. But I'll talk about that in a sec, because we actually get to see Hagrid here. Although he doesn't have a whole lot to say to us, just stuff that we've heard already.
All right, Harry. The centaurs are good and roiled with me. All right, Harry. The centaurs are good and roiled with me.
Oh. But if we go a little bit further into the woods, this is where I came across something else. You can actually find some animal footprints.
If they leave footprints, I'm not imagining them.
Now, the thing about this is, I originally thought that all these tracks were related to thestrals, but as you can find out in another piece of dialogue by finding a different track elsewhere around the grounds around Hagrid's hut, these are different kinds of animal tracks. There's a thestral animal track, there's one that I think there's some dialogue to it, but it didn't play here for some reason, so I have no idea what it actually is. And then there's a hippogriff one.
A hippogriff print?
You've not visited our secret room for a long time.
And of course Myrtle has to do her thing and be annoying, as always. And in the meantime, I also discovered that there are a few Weasley parcels hidden in amongst these bushes that are around here, these patches of ferns. And I also do have to say, the soundscape in this game is amazing. Going back into that clearing where the footprints are, I don't think it's regionally accurate, but the rainforest sounds that they had going on in there were just absolutely beautiful to listen to. Absolutely beautiful. And this was also perfect for me at the time. You can apparently Wingardium Leviosa the pumpkins,
Leviosa!
and they will fly up into the air and fall down smashed into the ground. I discovered this after I had done the Gobstone games, and I found this rather cathartic. It was quite pleasing. And now, after we're done talking about everything else that you can find in this game, aside from all the extra cleanup stuff, we are getting into the mini-games. The wizard chess, the gobstones, and all its variations, and the card game. Now, I'm not going to be showing all the gameplay here, I'm just going to be having short synopses, talking about each of the different variations you can have, and where they're located and what they're kind of about. If you want to see the gameplay with the live commentary, I'm going to be uploading separate videos. For the chess, for the gobstones, and for the exploding snap.
I didn't know anything about any of
I need to do
this
my
till
research
the
before
summer.
doing
My
recordings like
parents
this.
are
Whatever the card game is, I'm sure a lot of people are going to throw it at me in the comments. Professional recording. But anyway, I'm going to be uploading separate videos with the live commentary. And just as a warning, before you go watch those, I'll have cards where you can go watch those. They'll also be in the playlist.
Think you could
But I
play,
do
Potter?
find a
You
few
don't
points
stand
in
a
there
chance.
where I rage.
You'll never beat me, Potter.
The only exception to that is the card game. But anyway, so we're going to start here with chess. There are 3 levels of chess. We already went through the original, which you can find in the Gryffindor common room. There's a Gryffindor champion there that you can play against. There's really no difference between the 3 different levels of chess. The only difference is how difficult the AI is. So, of course, since you find the Gryffindor champion first, he's going to be the easiest. You're then going to go up against the Slytherin champion, who is in the Great Hall. But the only difference is he's a snarky Slytherin, and he's a fair bit more difficult. And by more difficult, I mean plays for stalemates all the damn time.
Stalemate.
and partly because I have a shitty endgame.
Bet you wish you were in Slytherin now, don't you, Potter?
And finally, there is the Ravenclaw champion, who I found multiple times before in the library.
Yes, I'd love to play chess, but I'd better warn you, I'm one of the best chess players at Hogwarts. Excellent, let battle commence.
She is by far more difficult than either of the two previous champions, but she's by no means unbeatable. You can definitely still win.
Checkmate.
An exemplary solution, absolutely superb. You are a worthy challenger.
Next, we're going to go into the Gobstones. This one is a little more complicated, but you don't have to go to each of the champions in order. Each house has a champion once again. You have the Hufflepuff champion, you have the Slytherin champion, and you have the Gryffindor champion. Each plays their own variation of Gobstone. The one in the entrance courtyard plays traditional Gobstone, which is my least favorite.
Okay, let's play.
The Slytherin champion is in the paved courtyard. She plays Snake Pit. And the Gryffindor champion is in the Clock Tower courtyard, and he plays Jack Gobstones.
Okay, have you played Jack Gobstones?
With Jack Gobstones and Snake Pit, you're trying to get your Gobstones, as close to the goal as possible.
Okay.
In Jack Gobstones, there's a Jack Gobstone. It's a really big one. You're trying to get your ball as close to that as you possibly can. In Snake Pit, there's a big hole in the middle of the circle, and you're trying to get your Gobstone as close to the hole without it actually falling in. In traditional Gobstones, it's a little bit different, because what you're doing is trying to knock Gobstones out of the circle, and for each Gobstone you knock out, you capture it, quote-unquote, and you get a point. If your shooting Gobstone goes out, you lose the points that you got, as well as losing an extra one for your ball rolling out.
Watch this.
Now, in the paved courtyard, there's actually another person there, the Hogwarts champion. But for some reason, I don't know if my game is bugged or what, but I could not play against her even after beating all three of the Gobstone champions. So, I don't know. So it's literally impossible for me to 100% this game at this point. There's not a whole lot that we're missing out on. It's just we would be playing through all three variations of the game again, of the Gobstones games. So Jack Gobstone, Snake Pit, and traditional. And you have to beat her at all three to be considered the Hogwarts champion. So, not missing out on a whole lot there, but since it didn't work, I don't have the footage for it, so oh well.
Poor old Potter must be so upset.
Finally, we have Exploding Snap. These ones are a little bit harder to find. One of them you can find up in the 5th floor corridor. It's the same level as the prefect's bathroom is on. And this one is matching the different ones together.
Would you like a go at Exploding Snap Patience?
Okay, let's play.
Now, with this variation of Exploding Snap, it's kind of a play on memory. You're trying to match two identical images together. If you get it wrong, however, they start to shake, there's a countdown, and if you don't manage to find either of their matches, they explode. However, thanks to this commenter, name here in the video, for throwing a handy tip, which I don't know why I didn't see this when I was playing, but the first time around. But each of the cards has a certain color backing, and the cards with these backs will always match. It's not just some arbitrary thing. So it's a lot easier to find your matches once you know that this is a pattern. And doing it here in this video, it was so much easier. Then there's a more traditional variation. This is down by the stone bridge
You want to play a game of
that
exploding
you cross
Okay, let's play.
from the viaduct entrance. And this one's a little more tricky to explain, but you can see in the video it's pretty simple. You're just trying to match the two cards before the timer runs out. Simple enough. And this one you're trying to get matches before they explode. So the more matches you get, the faster the countdown timer is, and you have to get a certain number of matches in order to win. Simple as that. And that is pretty much everything wrapped up into a tidy little nutshell. This video I know was a lot more explanatory and kind of cut and dry from my usual recordings, but I don't know, I kind of enjoyed this. I enjoyed having a little change of pace. That being said, once again you can check out the minigame videos. They'll be coming up after this one. And afterwards, we're going to check out the Room of Rewards, where I'm going to be grabbing a 100% save file because I do not have the time to be 100%ing this game. I'm going to be grabbing a 100% save file, and we're going to take a look at all of the rewards and different backstory kind of thing. Don't know if I'm going to be doing commentary on that or not yet, but we'll see. And after that's all said and done, it's going to be into the review, and this Let's Play is going to be coming to a close. So until then, thank you all so much for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye for now.